At the top, I'm going to go ahead and title my paper, Zoos. And I'm gonna write harmful or helpful. That's the title of my paper. I'm also gonna write the date there in the corner. And remember, when we go into writing our paper, our final paper, we have to put the pieces together. So what's gonna go first? Now remember, over here, I'll really quickly go over, it goes through your introduction, main idea 1, main idea 2, main idea 3, and your conclusion. So my first thing is my introduction. So I'm gonna flip back and look at my introduction that I wrote here. I'm gonna rewrite it on this piece of paper as nice as I can. I first started off with that question. Now remember, I need to do 2-finger indent to get started. Do you think zoos are? I'm gonna stop at that pink line here and I'm gonna go right down to the next line. Do you think zoos are harmful or helpful to animals? And that's gonna end with a question mark. I'm gonna continue writing my introduction that I already wrote here. I'm just gonna copy it word for word. I think zoos are, and I'm gonna go into focusing on how zoos are harmful. Now you, again, might pick that zoos are helpful, but I'm just gonna use the example that zoos are harmful for this. So now I have my introduction complete. I'm gonna move on to my main idea. So the first one is zoochosis, and as you can see, I listed it in my introduction. That's the first thing. So it's the first thing I'm gonna talk about here. So we're gonna do a 2-finger indent, and I'm gonna start off by saying zoochosis is a mental issue for animals living in zoos. And over here for zoochosis, animals are taken from their homes. I'm gonna include that. This happens when animals are taken from their home and become very sad. And then I'm going to go ahead and give the examples. Animals will pace back and forth in their enclosure. I would also say that animals will bob their heads up and down. And the last thing I'm going to write down is that animals can also cause harm to themselves. Now, with this paragraph, I actually want to give some of my own insight and some of my thoughts and experiences that I've had at zoos. I have seen a fox go back and forth in a cage, and it did not look happy. So even though it's not exactly what I wrote here for zoochosis, I expanded my thoughts into this first main idea paragraph, and it is a lot of sentences, but that's what I want you guys to do. You're taking these ideas that you came up with and we're elaborating and making them juicy sentences and awesome paragraphs for your paper. Now I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the zoochosis paragraph, but now I want to talk about how dangerous zoos are for animals. 2-finger indent. And again, I'm going to write zoos are harmful because they can be dangerous for animals. And then I'm going to go ahead and continue listing how they are dangerous for animals in this next paragraph. And I'm going to do the same thing for how animals don't live as long. So I'll have a total of 1. This is my intro. This is my paragraph 1. This will be my number 2. I'm going to have to go on the back of my paper. You guys, your goal is to go on the back of a paper. And you're going to write for paragraph number 3. As I work on my second idea in this paragraph, I'm going to write this is, there are also brighter lights. That's why this is, they're dangerous for animals. There are also brighter lights, which can cause animals to become aggressive. And now I'm going to give some insight of my own, some thought, not from my research, just things that I know. So I've actually thought about what if I was taken from my home and put in a enclosure. And I want to say that along with zoos have extremely loud noise levels, this is way different than living in their natural habitat. There are also brighter lights, which can cause animals to become aggressive. I'm going to write down, if I were in a zoo, I would not be able to calmly go to sleep because of all the bright lights. Now I'm saying that because I like to sleep in complete darkness, but if it's time for me to sleep and time for people to come and see me if I was an animal, that wouldn't work out for me. So far, I have my introduction paragraph. I have paragraph number 1, paragraph number 2. I just finished paragraph number 3, and I'm going to finally end with my conclusion. So I'm going to go back to my notes. There's my conclusion, and I'm going to copy it onto this paper for my end and to finish up. So I'm going to do 2-finger indents, and I'm going to say, now you know why I think zoos are harmful. I believe, oops, need to spell that right. I believe they are harmful because zoo animals develop zoochosis. See how I'm copying the exact thing that I wrote down in the first paragraph, just a different way. Zoo animals develop zoochosis. I'm going to write down it's dangerous for animals. And the last thing I talked about, how they are harmful and can be harmful, period. So there, boys and girls, I am done with my final paper for 3rd grade. And I told you about how zoos are harmful